Hi friends, it's Apple. Welcome back to Wild Apple Studio, your cozy corner for cute and simple handmade crafts. In this video, I will be taking you through all the steps of how I glaze my polymer clay charms and keycaps with UV resin. Whether you're new to this or is just looking for some tips, I hope you'll find this video helpful. Now you might be wondering, why bother glazing? Well, while polymer clay is pretty tough after baking, it can still break if dropped or pressed too hard. This is especially important for creations like keycaps that gets used a lot. UV resin adds an extra layer of protection and strength, particularly for those delicate details that might otherwise snap off. But it's not just about durability. Glazing gives your creations a professional glossy finish, and it also smooths out imperfections like fingerprints and makes your pieces look more polished. Plus, it's great for securing eye pins into your charms too. Let's talk about UV resin. It's a type of resin that hardens when exposed to ultraviolet light. The best part? It comes ready to use straight from the bottle, no mixing required. It cures quickly, and it gives your creations a beautiful and long-lasting shine that won't yellow over time. I personally get my UV resin online, and I'll leave some links below. You can also get them in some art stores locally, so it might be worthwhile to check them out too. Now that we know what UV resin is, here are the materials that you'll need to glaze your creations. I started off with using Mr. Resin, which I really liked, but then for some reason, they're not shipping to Hong Kong anymore. Then I switched to using this resin, which is also really good and much more accessible. I also tried this matte resin, which works fine, but it does have a strong pungent smell. You will need an old paintbrush. I suggest having them in two sizes, a flat one for bigger surfaces and a smaller one for finer details. You will need a silicone container or some kind of surface to pour your resin into. I used this container that came with the resin that I bought. The other thing you will need is a UV light to cure the resin. The kind used for gel nails work great. I'll leave some links below on where you can get one. You can set it at a timer so you can just leave your creations in there to harden. I know some artists also use the sun for curing their resin, and it will just take a little bit longer. I'm not sure if it's because where I live in Hong Kong, the weather is too humid, so I usually find that my creations don't cure fully under the sun. But what I normally do is I cure them under the UV lamp first, and then I leave them under the sun for some extra hardening. I usually allow my creations to cure for 2 to 3 minutes on each side. You should always follow the instructions on your UV resin's packaging, as each brand may have different curing times. Is UV resin safe? Before we start, let's talk safety. UV resin can cause allergic reactions in some people, so make sure to work in a well-ventilated area. I always wear nitrile gloves and a respirator when working with UV resin. Better safe than sorry, right? Now onto the glazing part. Start with your baked clay pieces. To glaze charms, I use these crocodile clips to hold them in place. And for keycaps, I use these keycap keychains that are also switch testers. I pour some resin into my silicone container. Then apply a thin layer to one side of the charm. Don't worry about brush strokes too much. The resin tends to level itself out, and I will also be doing another layer on top later. The trick here is to apply a layer that's as thin as possible. Now cure under the UV lamp for about 90 seconds, then rotate and repeat all sides. The most important part here is to apply the layer as thin as possible, especially for keycaps because you don't want the sides to become too thick and they won't fit into the keyboard anymore. Cure under the UV lamp for about 90 seconds and then rotate and repeat for all sides. I will then apply a second thin layer to make sure that all the surfaces are evenly covered. Finally, I leave my creations in the sun for some extra curing. And there you have it! Your polymer clay creations are now glossy and durable. Here are some creations that I've glazed, and you can see what it looks like before and after glazing. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you learned something new about how to glaze polymer clay. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more crafting tips. Happy making!